So now let's start talking about what these rays are actually going to look like. So we'll start with basically the first mirror. So the first mirror is going to be my positive mirror, which means it is converging, and it looks like this. The second one is going to be my diverging mirror, which is going to look like this. It is negative. The other thing that's important is the optical axis. So the optical axis is going to be the axis that is going through the middle of these two rays. And also the focal point. So this is going to be its focal. This is going to be, let's say, its focal point. Now let's talk about the three rays. So what I want you to do is pick out 3 different colors for your rays and then just stick with these 3 colors. So I'm going to choose red, black, and orange, for example, for my three different colors. I don't know, maybe green might be okay. But let's say I have my image here. Okay? So this is going to be, this is going to be my object, and this is going to be my object. So right now, I don't really care what the actual numbers are, but we'll figure out those numbers in a second. So for the first case, I want to do my principal axis. What did I know about my principal? My principal axis is going to go straight parallel to the optical axis until it hits the mirror, and then it's reflected back through the focal point. So it's going to go this way and that way. Same thing here. However, this is a diverging scenario. So in this case, I have to extend this further because the ray, once it hits it, it's not going to go through here. What is this ray actually going to do? This ray is going to use the focal point behind the mirror. Do you see the difference? What this is going to do, same P, parallel, I'm going to call this P, will come in here, hit the mirror, but instead of converging in, it has to diverge out. But how much? It has to diverge out. The way it's going to go is we are going to draw this as a focal point and then draw this line straight outwards. So the principal or the parallel axis for a negative lens will look like this. Now what about chief? So let's choose orange for my chief ray, right? Chief ray always does the same thing. It comes and it hits here, and it goes out here. Always, that's all what it does. Same thing it will do here. It will come in here, and it will go out here. And then we'll figure out where the rest of the things will go. So this is chief. Okay? Now what about focal? So our third ray is our focal ray. Now what does a focal ray do? It goes through the focal. So in the first case, the focal ray will go through the focal point, hit, get reflected back. Good? And this I'm going to call F. So here are my rays. So my principal, actually I'm going to call it parallel. Parallel is going to be drawn with black. My chief ray is going to be drawn with orange. And my focal ray will be drawn by red. Okay, so what about the negative mirror? What is my focal ray going to do? Well, I have to still have a ray that goes diverging. It's still a diverging ray. So it's going to use this focal point. So it has to pass through the same focal point. So it's going to be a real ray until it hits here. Then it becomes virtual, and it reflects back. Uh-oh, I have a problem. None of these rays really converge anywhere, or do they? Now how do I make sure, how do I find where my image is? I don't actually have a point for where the image is going to be formed. In the first case, it's easy. All these 3 rays join up in one spot, which is here. So I start from my optical axis and I come back here. This is where my image is going to be. But what about my second scenario? What about here? Where are all of these rays matching up? Well, I could extend this one backwards and this one backwards, right? And if all of my picture was actually true, my image would be formed here. Yeah, I think I drew this one a little bit further, but that's kind of the idea of what this is.